I'd like to introduce you to the winners of this morning's Pitch Perfect Challenge, and they will wow you with their respective winning Tech Alley pitches. And those winners are Bernard Del Rey from Capital Preferences. He'll be followed by Marshall Cooper from Mindscreen, and then we have Simon Brown from Banker. So if we could give them all a round of applause, and I'll invite Bernard to the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks so much for recognizing us as one of the winners in Pitch Perfect. I'm Bernard Del Rey. I'm one of the co-founders of a company called Capital Preferences, and today I'm here to tell you a little bit about our platform, which is called True Profile. First, I'll kind of just give you a little insight into what we do. We use behavioral economics and decision sciences to help financial services firms understand their clients through their clients' decisions, not their words. And I think when you look at the primary obligation that exists within financial services today, it is to understand customers, yet that's the most daunting challenge that we have as we look to distribute and recommend products to them. The company is co-located in Christchurch, where it was founded, and Berkeley, California. My co-founder is a gentleman named Shahar Kareev, who was most recently chair of the economics department at Berkeley. And we've been fortunate enough, given the very narrow scope that we have, to win a number of global awards. We have 17 people located across 3 locations. So what's the fundamental problem we're trying to solve? The fundamental problem we're trying to solve is that people cannot accurately communicate their preferences to us. Things such as how much risk they're willing to take, or how much more important one goal is over another. And so when you think about a simple question like, how much do you like dolphins from 1 to 10, if I asked all of you would raise your hand, and I'd get answers such as 7 or 8. Right, but that question is a really poorly defined question. Do I mean like to swim with dolphins? Do I mean like to eat dolphins? And so by the nature of the imprecise language that we use, it becomes very difficult to actually do something for a client that we could truly claim as custom. And yet, customization and personalization is the only value proposition, I would argue, that's left within financial services. And so that means that the whole paradigm of profiling clients and understanding clients needs to change. And the answer is not going to be found in questions or questionnaires. It's going to be found in applied behavioral economics and the decision sciences. Actions speak louder than words. If you want to understand a customer fully, you need to see them make decisions with their money. And from those decisions, you can recreate their preferences from their choices. So how does that work? This is how it works. This is an example of a very simple decision game that a consumer would use to reveal to you how much risk they're willing to take with their KiwiSaver. They'd be facing a scenario, or a series of scenarios, where the green triangle up above is the upside available, and that red line, as they move it left to right, is the risk they're willing to take to achieve that scenario, or that positive outcome. Once we have a series of this, I'll call it a road test of the client across these 6 decisions, which take 60 seconds, we recover 3 important parameters about them: their risk tolerance, their level of loss aversion, and decision consistency. And these are not invented metrics, as you might be familiar with from kind of surveys where you code each response with a certain score and then add them all up and tell the client that client is a 74 out of 100. 74 out of 100 has no economic meaning whatsoever. It's something that we invented somewhere in some office, whereas the parameters that come from an exercise like this have real economic meaning. What that allows you to do is then precisely measure how your investment lineup or any series of financial products fit with that client's preferences. And that's an example that we have to the left or my right there. We can, this adds to marketing segmentation, understanding how to speak to clients, which clients are more loss averse, which clients are not loss averse. And it also allows the industry to identify those decision makers that might be vulnerable, meaning they don't understand how to make risk-reward decisions. As you look at how the financial services landscape is evolving, this becomes a primary obligation for the industry, not only to protect clients, but also to protect institutions. So if any of you are interested in hearing more, please feel free to get in touch. You know, the core promise that we're trying to enable for all of you is that every client is understood and every cent that you manage for them makes sense. With that, I will pass it over to Marshall.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Simon, and I'm part of the team at Banker. It's safe to say that there's a wealth of financial expertise in the room. Expertise that has the potential to improve the lives of many. But I think there's a bit of a problem. There's a subset of New Zealand who aren't confident enough to walk in your front door. A subset of New Zealand who don't have an understanding of basic financial concepts and have no idea where to start. And that's the revelation one of our co-founders, Kendall, came to a bit over 4 years ago, when her conversations with her then 12-year-old brother were transformed from being about pro wrestling and cricket to interest in tax. It turned out that her brother's teacher, Micah, was running a classroom economy, a system that he had been refining for over 10 years and had hundreds of students pass through. While the system was great, it was taking a long time for him to maintain. It wasn't overly applicable in the digital age, and she thought that thousands of students deserved the right to go through it. And so the idea of Banker was born. 4 years on, and Banker transforms primary and intermediate classrooms around New Zealand and Australia into virtual economies over the course of the school year. Students have a couple of mock online bank accounts. They're set up with a fictitious wage for coming to school. And just like you or I, they pay their fair share of bills. From there, they explore a range of different financial concepts. This includes saving for their classroom retirement through KiwiSaver, preparing basic CVs to apply for classroom jobs, purchasing vehicles and properties, and hopefully, off the back of that, insuring them. And some lucky 12-year-olds will even get to experience bankruptcy for the first time. So why do we do this? Research shows us that we currently place a reliance on parents and family to introduce these financial concepts, but they themselves may not have the financial capabilities, while the other half don't have the time. We also know that while some children may understand these concepts, putting them to practice can be a completely different thing, and this can be costly when it's done in the real world for the first time. So we've designed a standardised financial education platform to solve these two issues while fulfilling our mission of ensuring that all kids are prepared for the financial world ahead. When we first started out, we had a user pay model. We had schools paying $8 per student per year. But we quickly came up against what we considered to be a pretty perverse action whereby schools couldn't afford to use it and it was justified to sell schools using it. At that stage, we partnered with KiwiBank and later NetWealth in Australia, who have made the platform free and accessible for all schools. Since starting 4 years ago, we've grown to be used by over 60,000 students in 850 different schools throughout New Zealand. Due to the online nature of our product, these schools are all over the country, from Five Forks in North Otago to Hobsonville Point here in Auckland. More recently, we launched in Australia midway through last year and have grown to be used by over 8,000 students there. So what does the future look like for us? For us, it's about broadening and deepening our social impact. Deepening our social impact in the sense that we want the platform to be accessible for all students. And we're currently working with Select Kura and iwi around the Te Reo Māori translation and contextualisation. In terms of broadening things, we're looking to expand into additional overseas markets, acknowledging that this is a global issue. So, what does the sort of impact we can have look like? I've got a couple of people who would like to share with you how they're planning to put what they've been learning into practice. A couple of people who I believe, based on what they're learning every day in the classroom, are going to be more than happy to engage in your services. And maybe more importantly, a couple of people who I believe are going to be ready for the financial world ahead. If what they have to say resonates with you, and it's a future New Zealand you would like to get behind as an industry leader, then I'd love to have a chat to you later on, or feel free to flick me an email. Anyway, let's hear from them. Maybe not. Go again.
When you have money that you're not going to use, it's good to put it in a term deposit. When you have money that you're not going to use, it's good to put it in a term deposit, so then you get lots of interest, because you would get more from a term deposit than what you would get if it was just sitting in your savings. Definitely going to have KiwiSaver, because you can keep getting money to have a good retirement in your first house.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Hi, I'm Marshall Cooper. I'm the CEO of Mindscreen. and we're quantifying wellness. Imagine if we could save and enrich lives by empowering people to manage their mental wellness. Let's not imagine it, because we can do it. We have the technology right now. And we need to do it now because we're facing a global mental health crisis. Depression is the leading cause of ill health and disability worldwide. 800,000 people die every year. That's someone every 40 seconds. 6 people will commit suicide when I give this pitch today. In New Zealand, last year we had 668 suicides. That's one every 13 hours, nearly 2 a day. And aside from the human loss and the heartbreak, the annual economic cost of mental ill health in New Zealand is $17 billion. With your help, we're targeting a 50% reduction in suicides within 5 years in New Zealand and within 10 years globally. So how are we going to do this? At Mindscreen, we have the world's most comprehensive multi-disorder mental health assessment tool. We cover 30 disorders: family history, past history, medication history. And that's our core technology that we've had for about 15 years. We've had it in development for that long. But we're adding a whole bunch of new intelligence. Artificial intelligence to make our recommendations more accurate. Machine learning so that over time it gets even better. Pattern recognition so that we can start to predict when someone might have a breakdown or when they might need to claim for income protection. Blockchain so that the data is secure, immutable and trusted. And natural language generation to ensure that we have a human feel to this technology. So just how does it work? It starts with someone taking an assessment. And based on the severity of their issues and the number of different disorders they have, we actually then stream them to a whole bunch of recommendations of how they can get support. It's not always a psychologist or psychiatrist. It could be improving your diet, doing exercise, doing online cognitive behavior therapy, positive psychology, yoga, mindfulness, a whole range of solutions that are more fence at the top of the cliff rather than ambulance at the bottom. And when we track the person and their recommendations, and then they come back and get assessed again, we know how much they've improved based on what they've done. So we can start to tell over time which of the recommendations, which services for what people, for men, for women, for young people, older people, work better. And that data is really powerful. So that data, for the first time ever, enables us to quantify mental health, so that it's no longer the poor cousin to physical health. This is really a paradigm change in the way that mental health is addressed. For the first time, stakeholders in the sector like insurers, workplaces, pharmaceutical companies, and government policymakers have got the ability to measure and cost mental health and then make decisions based on that data. In a workplace context, we've been having conversations with some of these great New Zealand companies about looking at how we can completely redefine workplace wellness, measure that data, and then check the impact of those wellness programs on their employee wellness, engagement, and productivity. The Mindscreen will enable companies to use that data with their employees to have a business that is where people want to work, and a business where they don't wait for 11 years before they seek help, which is currently what happens in the mental health space. From when you first have a symptom to seeking help, 11 years on average. This is our team. People from MIT, Harvard, Yale, some incredible world leaders in their space. We're starting to build it right now and really excited with how it's all going. So what am I pitching for? So we're currently capital raising, so we're looking for strategic investment partners. But as well as that, we're looking for insurers who want to be leaders in their space. It's your opportunity to partner with us to co-create some of these solutions, build on our core technology that we've currently got, but work with us to see how we can implement our technology into the insurance sector. The conversations we've had so far show that claims management, manual mental health, underwriting, and group wellness plans are the areas that are of particular interest. And the third thing we're looking for is for you, everyone in the room here, to become corporate partners so that your own employees can use our technology and you can benefit from that as well. So Thank you very much for your time. We're here tomorrow as well in Tech Alley. If anyone wants to talk about how we can incorporate our technology into your businesses, feel free to chat. Thank you.